Hi students, this is Kishore Dasari. In today's session, we will discuss about comparison or difference between OSI and TCP/IP reference model and different standards and standard organizations. What is meant by protocol, like these topics. Okay, first of all, this is the diagrammatic comparison between OSI reference model and TCP/IP reference model. I think all of you learn about OSI reference model and TCP/IP reference model. Both are reference model which helps to transmit data from one node to another node, or one device to another device, or one system to another system. Okay. In the OSI reference model having 7 layers: application, presentation, session, transport, network, data link layer, physical layer. Coming to the first one is physical layer, data link layer, network layer, transport layer, session layer, presentation layer, application layer. In the connection like down to up. Okay, what about the TCP/IP model? In general, TCP/IP model is having less number of layers. The TCP/IP model having two different models likewise, TCP and IP, that is TCP protocols and IP protocols, internet layer protocols. We are going to differences between OSI and TCP/IP. The first difference is standard. The OSI stands for Open System Interconnection. The TCP/IP stands for Transmission Control Protocol or Internet Protocol. The first point is the OSI is a generic protocol, independent standard acting as a communication gateway between the network and end user. The TCP/IP model is based on standard. It is a communication protocol which allows connection of host over a network. The second point, in OSI model, the transport layer guarantees the delivery of packets. In TCP/IP model, the transport layer does not guarantee delivery of packets. Still, the TCP/IP model is more reliable. The third point, this is the follows vertical approach, and the TCP/IP follows horizontal approach. And fourth point is the OSI model has a separate presentation layer and session layer. I think all are you observed in previous diagrammatic comparison. In OSI reference model having 7 layers, but the TCP/IP having only 4 layers. In this model, the presentation layer and session layer have in OSI layer, OSI reference model, but in TCP/IP doesn't have a separate presentation layer or session layer. Fifth point is the transport layer is connection oriented in TCP/IP, but in OSI reference model, but in TCP/IP reference model, the transport layer is both connection oriented and connectionless. Connection oriented connectionless networks are TCP and UDP. The sixth point is the network layer is both connection oriented and connectionless. But in TCP/IP, The network layer is connectionless communication system. Seventh point, the OSI is a reference model around which the network are built. Generally, it is used as a guidance tool, but the TCP/IP is in a way of implementation of the OSI model. And eighth point is the network layer of OSI model provides both connection oriented and connectionless. But the network layer in TCP model provides connectionless service. The OSI model has problem of fitting the protocols into model. The TCP/IP model does not fit any protocol. The next one is the protocols are hidden in OSI model and are easily to replace with technology changes. In TCP/IP, replacing protocol is not easy. The 11th point is the OSI reference model defines services, interfaces, and protocols very clearly that make a clear distinction between them. It's protocol independent, but the TCP/IP services, interface, and protocols are not clearly separated. It is also protocol dependent. The OSI having 7 layers, but the TCP/IP having only 4 layers. And this is the basic difference or comparison between TCP/IP and OSI reference model. Okay. The next topic is protocols. First of all, what is meant by protocol? The simply protocol says that is set of rules. The protocols are set of rules. A protocol is a set of rules that govern data communications. A protocol defines what is communicated, how it is communicated, and when it is communicated. The key elements of protocol are syntax, semantics, and timing. The network protocols are simply set of established rules that dedicated how to format, transmit, receive data so computer network devices from servers and routers so endpoints can communicate regardless of differences there underlying any infrastructure design standards. To successfully send and receive information, devices on both sides of a communication exchange must accept and follow protocol conventions. Support for network protocols can be built into software, hardware, or both. The standardized network protocols provide a common language. In network devices, without them, computers won't know how to engage with each other, and as a result, except of specialty networks built around a specific architecture, few networks would be able to function. And the network or in internet as we know we won't exit. Virtually all networks and end users really network protocol for connectivity. The key elements of protocols are syntax, semantic, and timing. First of all, what is syntax? The term syntax refers to the structure or format of the data, that is the meaning, the order in which they are presented. For example, a single protocol might accept first 8 bits of data to be address of the sender, the second 8-bit to be address of the receiver, and rest of stream will be message like that. And next one is semantics. The word semantics refers to the meaning of each section of bits. How is particular pattern to be interpreted and what action is taken based on the interpretation. For example, does an address identify the route to be taken or final destination of the message? And next one is timing. The term timing refers to the two characteristics when data should be sent and how fast they can be sent. For example, if sender produces data at 100 Mbps but the receiver can process data only 1 Mbps, the transmission will be overloaded and receiver and some data will be lost. That's why the protocols having the three important terms, key terms. Okay. We have several protocols like routing protocol, transfer protocol, connecting protocols like SMTP, FTP, internet protocols. So many are there. Next one, standardization. The many network vendors, and suppliers exist in the real world, each with its own idea how things should be done. Without coordination, there would be a complete chaos and users would get nothing done. The only way out is agree on some network standards. Not only do standards allow different computers to communicate, but they are also increase the larger market leads to mass production, economies of the scale manufacturing, the VLSI implementations, and the other benefits that decreases price and further increase acceptance. In the following section, we will take a quick look on important but little known international standardization. The standards are essential in creating and maintaining an open and competitive market for equipment manufacturers in gathering national and international interoperability of data and telecommunication technology and the process. The standards provide guidelines to manufacturers, vendors, government agencies, and other service providers to ensure the kind of interconnectivity necessary in today's marketplace and it is international communication. The basically standards fall in two categories, de facto and de jure. The first one, de facto. Basically, de facto is Latin word that is from the fact. The standards are those that have just happened without any formal plan. The IBM PC and the successors are de facto standards for small office and home computers because dozens of manufacturers choose a copy IBM's machines very closely. Similarly, Unix is the de facto standard for operating system in university computer science departments. And next one is de jure. The standards that mean by law. The standard contrast are formal legal standards adopted by some authority standardization body. The international standardization authorities are generally divided into two classes, those established by the treaty among national governments and those comprising voluntary non-treaty organizations. They have servicing and remaining mostly rural customers. The companies in United States that provide communication services to the public are called common carriers. Their offering and prices are described by a document called tariff, which must approved by the Federal Communication Commission for Interstate and International Tariff by the State Public Utilities Commission for Interstate Traffic. The some standard organizations are given below. The first one is ISO, that is International Standard Organization. Second one ITU, International Telecommunication Union. Third one IEEE, that is International Electrical and Electronics Engineers. And next one is ANSI, American National Standardization Institute. Next one IETF, International Engineering Task Force. Next one EIA. The EIA is, that is agency. And next one is W3C, Worldwide Web Consortium. Okay, first one is ISO. The ISO standard organization is voluntary non-treaty organization founded in 1946. Its members are national standard organizations of 89 member countries. The ISO issues standards on truly vast number of subjects ranging from nuts and bolts, literally, to telephone pole coating, like other things also. The so many OSI standards like ISO OSI, that is Open System Interconnection, is also developed by ISO. And next one is ITU, that is International Telecommunication Union. The United Nations that was created to encourage international cooperation in all forms of telecommunication. Its activates include maintaining order in the allocation of radio frequencies, setting standards on technical and operational matters. They assisting countries to developing their own telecommunication system. The origin of ITU can be traced in 1865 when the International Telegraph Union was established by the convention signed in Paris. The International Telecommunication Convention of 1932. The the ITU became agency of National United Nations. The ITU has three main sectors: radio communication sector, that is ITUR; the telecommunication standardization sector, that is ITUT; and development sector, that is ITUD. The ITUR is concerned with allocating radio frequencies worldwide to to competing interest groups. We will focus primarily on ITUT, which is concerned the telephone and data communication system. From 1985 to 1993, the ITUT was known as CCITT, that is acronym for French name Committee Consultant International Telegraphic et Telephonique. The ITU label ITUT has four classes of members: national government, sector members, associate members, and regulatory members. The next one is IEEE, that is Institute of Electrical and Electronics Engineer. It is a professional association for electronic engineering and electrical engineering, uh, with its corporate office in New York City, and it is operation center in Piscataway, New Jersey. It was formed in 1963 from the amalgamation of American Institute of Electrical Engineers and the Institute of Radio Engineers, the largest professional organization in the world. In addition, the publishing scores of journals and running hundreds of conferences each year. The IEEE has standardization group that develop standards in area of electrical engineering and computing. The IEEE's 802 committee has standardized many kind of LANs. We will study some. The actual work is done by the collection of working groups which are listed. The success rate of the various 802 working groups has been, and having a 802 X number is no guarantee of success, but the impact of success stories 802.11 has, we are using network wireless communication network standards like 802.1234567 like like up to 11 A B C D F G like that. And next one is IETF, the Internet Research Task Force, focuses on longer term research issues related to the internet, while the parallel organization, the Internet Engineering Task Force, this is the focus for short term issues of engineering and standards making. The Internet Research Task Force promotes research of importance to the evolution of the internet by creating focus and long term research groups working on topics related to the internet protocols, applications, architecture, and technology. This is the large open international community network designers, the operators, vendors, and researchers connected with the evolution of the internet architecture and the smooth operation of the internet. The technical work of IETF is done in working groups which are organized by topic into several areas. Much of the working is handled in via mailing lists. The host meeting 3 times per year. This is the release of so many standards like RFCs. The mission of IETF to make the internet work better by producing high quality, relevant technical documents that influence that way of people design, use, and manage the internet. The IETF is a large open international community of network designers and operators, vendors, and researchers concerned with the evolution of the internet architecture and the smooth operation of the internet. The IETF administration provides cooperative legal home for IETF, that is Internet Architecture Board and Internet Research Task Force. And next one is EIA, that is Electronic Industries Alliance. This is established in 1997 is Electronic Industries Association with the American Standards and Trade Organization composed and alliance of trade associations for electronics manufacturing in United Nations. They are developed standards to ensure the equipment of different manufacturers was compatible and interchangeable. The EIA seized the operation in February 11, 2011, but the farmer sectors continue to serve the constituents of CIA. These the different standards are produced by EIA, that is EIA 41 cellular radio communication inter-system operation, and next one is EIA TIA IS 55, that is recommended minimum performance standards of 800 megahertz dual mode mobile stations. The EIA the EIA is provides recommendations for the research on electronic industries. There is so many standards are designed by the EIA, that is different numbers like EIA TIA 329B. These are the minimum standards for communication antennas, the base station antennas likewise. These are all EIA recommendations. These at least condition model, the manufacturers can provide minimal services like the EIA recommendations. And next one is W3C, that is World Wide Web Consortium. This is founded in 1994 by Tim Berners-Lee after he left the European Organization for Nuclear Research in October 1994. It was founded at Massachusetts Institute of Technology, Laboratory of Computer Science, MIT Labs, that supports from European Commission, the Defense Advanced Research Project Agency, that is called DARPA. Uh, the defense organization which is pioneered the ARPANET, the one of the predecessors of the internet. The organization tries to foster compatibility and agreement among the industry members in the adoption of new standards and defined by the W3C. It is incompatible where versions of HTML and are offered different vendors, causing inconsistency in how web pages are displayed. The consortium tried to get all those vendors to implement a set of core principles that components which are chosen by the consortium. This consortium is helps to develop the web pages are compatible mode. This the standard organization provides the standards of web page development. The W3C has published a new version of roadmap of web application on mobiles. The W3C can provides many things related to the website and web publications and web pages like things. In present, so many mobile networks are providing web pages in your mobile. The page difference between in desktop view are differ with mobile view. In mobile view, so many varies like place, colors, data, and images likewise. These are all standard institute, standard organization which helps to develop many standards. The standards are compatible and acceptable. And other standard organizations are IETF, ACM, like Advanced Computer Machinery. These are the standard organizations for computer machinery. Okay. In this session, we covered the topics are the comparison of OSI and TCP/IP, and what is the protocol and different types of protocols, and standard organization. Today's session over. Thank you.